Good morning, dear students. I hope you all will be fine in your home. So, continuing today with the next topic of our discussion for compiler design is basic blocks and flow graphs. I, Professor Arya Agrawal, will discuss with you regarding the topic of basic blocks and flow graph. Okay, so let's begin. So, first we shall see an outline. What is basic block? What is flow graph? And how will you represent these basic blocks and how will you represent this flow graph. So let's see. Okay, basic blocks are nothing but it is an maximum sequence of consecutive three address code instructions. As we have already studied this, consider this as a following code. Here a sequence of three addresses instructions are being given and we have construct the syntax tree for the same. The sequence of these three address instructions which you are seeing on the left hand side, that is t1 equals to a into a, these statements are basic blocks. Okay, here it is very important to note that we can construct syntax tree as we have seen in the second phase of the compiler, which is the syntax analysis, and we can calculate its meaning in the semantic analysis. But now here it is important for us to note that we have to make use of a two terminals. First one is a live variable name or live terminal and second one is a non-live terminal. So what is a live name? Or live name or live terminal or a live value is a name in a basic blocks when its value is used after that point in the program, perhaps which is in the another basic block also. Means consider a tree. Suppose in this here the value of a variable which is used in another basic block, means the value is being used at other levels on the also in this diagram, then that variable value will be a live value. The value which will not be used for further computations will be a non-live value. Okay, so what is actually we have to, how do we have to construct these basic blocks is that first we have to partition the intermediate code into basic blocks. Okay, how to do this is the flow of control can enter the basic blocks only through the first instruction in the block, that is there are no jump allowed in the middle of the block. Why? Because this is an optimization technique. Basic blocks is an optimization technique, and this all the branching statement, conditional statement, jump statements are being handled during intermediate code generation itself. So there is, it should not in code optimization we should not again go for the same things that will result in the ineffectiveness of the code. So many things has to be taken into consideration, that basic blocks is an optimization technique, so it will not handle any jumps during the middle of the code. These jumps are already handled in previous phases of the compiler. Now next one is control will leave the block without halting or branching except possibly the last instruction of the block. Yes, correct, it is correct, it will be possibly at the last instruction only in the block the control will leave the block. The basic blocks becomes the node of a flow graph whose edge indicate that which block it will follow or other blocks. Here how we have I have taken one example to make you understand this concept. We'll see it in the upcoming slide. Now first thing which you have to note here is how what is to be done is we have to partition this three address instruction into basic blocks. That is a uh, and how to do it means it has to be done by recognizing some leader. What is a leader? A leader is nothing but it is the first instruction in a basic block. Okay, and after applying this algorithm, what is the specified output that we are expecting is a list of all basic blocks for that sequences in which each instruction is assigned to exactly one or more basic blocks. So this is the output which we are expecting from this algorithm. Okay, but for that we have to find out the leader. So what are the leaders? The leader is nothing but it is the first instruction in the basic block is called as a leader. But here we have to make a note that the instruction which has just passed the end of an intermediate program is not included as a leader. Okay, means the instruction which has just completed execution in an intermediate program will not be a leader. Okay, so this few things has to be considered while considering a leader for a basic block. Okay, any instruction that immediately follow a conditional or unconditional jump is a leader. So these are the three rules: rule 1, rule 2 and rule 3, which are to be considered for choosing a leader. Next, consider this. So here we assume that the intermediate code to set a 10 by 10 matrix to an identity matrix, we assume that it has a memory byte of 8 bytes. Okay, so here when if we have to identify the leader from this, then first instruction is a leader. Okay, instruction 1 is a leader as far as the rule 1 is considered. Now we have to find other leaders. So in order to find the other leaders from this 17 set of instruction, we have to find where are the jumps. Okay, so considering this statement, you can see that jump are at 9, statement 9, statement 11 and statement 17. So if we apply the rule 2, what does rule 2 says? Any instruction that is a target of an conditional or unconditional jump is a leader. This is a rule 2. So if we apply this rule 2 over here, we will get the target of these jumps are leader, and those instructions are 3, 2 and instruction 13 respectively. Okay, again by applying the rule 3, what is the rule 3? Any instruction that immediately follows an conditional or unconditional jump is a leader. So if we apply that condition over here, rule 3, then we get that each instruction following the jump is a leader, and those are instruction number 10 and instruction number 12. So how here we conclude that instruction number which are the leaders are instruction number 1, instruction number 2, instruction number 3, 10, 12 and 13. These instructions are the leaders. Okay, so again we have to take into consideration that some statements are not executed, they are not considered as leaders. Suppose example, as we see that step number 7 and 8, they are not considered as leader, they are only executable 3 address code instructions. Okay, so I hope you have understood how to calculate the leader. So next, moving on, the most important topic of basic block is that we have to identify the liveliness and the next use information. See why we are doing this, because this is an optimized technique. So if a variable is having some usage in further steps, then it is a live variable, and if it is not helpful for generating further amount of code, then it is a non-live variable. So how to determine that liveness we have already seen in slide 1. Now here we have to determine for each 3 address statement x equals to y plus z, what will be the next use information, next use of variable x, y and z. So for that we have an algorithm. Again we have to attach to the statement I to the information. This I will denote the information attached to this expression, which is currently found in the symbol table regarding the next use and liveliness of variables x, y and z. If the symbol table is set x to not live, okay, means I will be the information, x will be the not live and no next use. In the symbol table, again set y and z to live and next use of y and z to I, means I will denote here a live information and variable x will denote not live and no next use information. Okay, so these are the two things which we have to take into consideration. So How these basic blocks are being constructed, we have taken into consideration what are the rules for finding a leader. We have studied that. What is the find, how do we find the liveliness of a variable and the next is information of a variable, we have found that. Now next thing is, second thing, we have to construct a flow graph for this basic blocks. Okay, so how do we construct a flow graph? What is a flow graph? First, it is nothing but once flow graph is representing a flow of information from one block to another block, in general words if we try to say that. Once an intermediate program is partitioned into basic blocks, we represent the flow of control between them by a flow graph. Okay, there are two ways to justify this statement. First, there is a conditional or unconditional jump from the end of B to the beginning of C. What is this? We will see with an example. And the C will immediately follow B in the original order of the three address instruction, and B does not end in an unconditional jump. So what is this two rules? We will see an example, okay, to better understand this. See, consider this. These are suppose this is a flow graph, and here we can see that block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, block 5 and block 6, total 6 blocks are there. See, no block is having an unconditional jump. See, if we try to consider the block 3, it will be executed fully. T1, after T1, T2, T3, T4, J equals to J plus 1, and then आखिरी next line, in the last line we will get a conditional statement. So if there is a conditional statement at the last line, it will again transfer the control to the starting of the block. Here you can see that. Here you can see that. Again, if a second conditional statement is occur, you can see the control transfer in a flow graph. So again at the B6. So this is how the flow graphs depicts the flow of information by using graph. Now how to represent this flow graph is, replace the jump to an instruction by number or a labels or jumps to the basic block. As we have identified B1, B2, these are nothing but any ordinary graph can be represented by any data structure. Appropriate data structure which is being used for graph can be used for flow graphs also. Okay, we represent the content of a node by a pointer to the leader in the array of 3 address instruction together with a count of the number of instruction or a second pointer to the last instruction. This is how we have depict the flow information flow in a flow graph. Okay, since we may be changing the number of instruction in a basic block frequently, yes, it is because after intermediate code generation, during code optimization, we may be changing the number of instructions in the basic blocks in order to optimize it. Okay, then it will be more efficient to create a linked list of instruction for each block, for each of the basic blocks. See, when we try to create an information using linked list, we all know that it will be very time saving and effective during runtime. If you do not use such technique, then it will result in the more time taken during execution, because maximum time will be spent in searching. So we make use of a very good topic, and which is the linked list data structure for representation of flow graph. I hope you have understood what is the concept of flow graph, what is the concept of basic block, how to design a basic block, and how to design a flow graph. Thanks.